Hi, Kristina. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, girl. I am so excited to bring you on the show.
I am so excited to be here. We had a great chat for my show, so I think this is going to be awesome and get to continue the.
Oh my gosh, yes. I can't wait to geek out about building a community online with you. It's going to be so fun. But before we dive into all the nitty gritty tips, can you please share a little bit about yourself? Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve?
Yeah. So, hey everyone, I am Kristina Bartold Sergota. I am a social media manager of sorts, but I am the CEO of the Social Snippet. We're a social media and podcast agency where we work with over 80 clients on the agency side to help them build community online. And then we also have a membership where we support people in teaching them how to do their own social. And I am obsessed with helping people build community. I think that in every job I've ever had, that's been the core is really teaching people about how to build relationships, how to network, how to build community. And so it's no different on social. And so I love to share those tips with people, whether they be clients or on my podcast, which is called Community. And yeah, I just have a huge heart for service of others.
I can't wait to talk about social with you because that approach and the building of like authentic, genuine connections, I think is so important for making it not feel soul sucking and
Yeah.
actually feel fun. But before we dive into the tips, I always just like to kick off the conversations by asking you about your journey. How have you gotten to where you are today? What has that looked like for you, lady?
Yeah. So I've been a freelance social media manager for years, like 10 years. I've been doing social. It's always come very naturally to me, but I had a career that was a bit different. And so I love that. And I did a lot of leadership development stuff. I have masters in leadership and really just help people grow. And during the pandemic, I started offering these like leadership coaching, working with people one-on-one. It started to morph a little. And every single person I worked with left with a side hustle. Like I was a business coach. Like I don't know how, I don't know what happened, but it was like every single person was helping people build businesses. I was teaching people how to build stuff on Squarespace. I was doing like flow desk automations for people, teaching people how to show up in social. All of my stuff was selling out. And so I went to my friend who was my VA at the time and I was like, I think I'm onto something. I feel people need this. And so started taking on one client, two clients, three clients. We've been in business about 3.5 years. And we really, what makes us different as a social media agency is that we don't focus on numbers, we focus on community. And so we really wanted to help people learn how to build community. So we've done that through our agency, also our podcast. And then the other piece that's been such a big piece is we've been running in-person events. So we've been seeing kind of community from all angles. And so I'm super passionate about helping people see that in their own niches too.
Yes. Oh man, I know. I love when this like theme can be like seen through your entire like business journey and all that other stuff. Community is obviously something that's so important to you and it's what you help your client members do. So tell us a little bit about community and especially building that community online. Cause I feel like for a lot of people, it's that disconnect of feeling like there's that screen between us. Like it doesn't feel genuine. And so many factors like go into that feeling of disconnect from an online community versus an in-person community, but, like, how do you like to talk about this with your people?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that comes to mind for me is that we are so focused on followers. We love to see that number grow. We love to see new people in our world. And people see that as like a metric of success. They're so excited about their followings growing. But then what I hear from so many people that come to work with us, whether that be in our membership or in our agency, is that they're like, I'm posting and I'm not getting any sales. I'm in my stories and I'm not getting any sales. My messaging is good. I paid for a brand. I paid for this. I paid for a $50,000 website, like whatever it is. And for me, I realized early on that so much of what people were missing was actually like my superpower, which was building community. People weren't having relationships with their followers. They were posting and ghosting. They were not engaging in their followers' stuff. They were going quick for the sale. They were selling constantly. There was no nurture. And all of these things made me realize that what people were actually missing was community. And we've built our entire business on referral. We don't do a lot of ad. I've never run an ad for my business. Everything has come from a client, has come from someone I know, someone I've networked with, someone I've served. And so the way that I've done that consistently has been to really just spill my jelly beans and like tell everybody like what I'm up to all the time and tell people like when people are like, hey, I'm wondering about this. I'm like, here's my template on how to do it. Like really showing people. And that has led to more work than we could have ever imagined.
Yes. Oh, I love this conversation and this take because literally it's really hard for small business owners often
Mhm.
to you're starting your business and you're like, this is what my business is about. But wait, all of a sudden I have to learn all these other
Yeah.
things. And it can be really difficult to, like, manage, but I feel that myself with that's how I try to approach my social media accounts, is try to make it as genuine and real as possible and take the marketing out of it while still having a marketing strategy. And I feel like that can be a hard line to walk and, like, a hard line to even find or figure out for a lot of business owners. So, like, how do you do that? How do you incorporate, like, genuine relationship building into a strategy without sacrificing, like, the genuineness of it? You know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I think a lot of business owners are looking for shortcuts. They're looking for ways to do things super fast, and there are ways to do things fast. But I think it's gonna take conversations. It's gonna take you being in the DMs with people. It's gonna take stories. It's gonna take those things. One of my favorite examples is one of our clients. She had a business that she was not able really to make a lot of sales. And I was like, what would happen if you went on your stories every single day and you just talked about what was going on in your business? And then you responded to every DM you got. And it was amazing how things had shifted for her. Like, it was night and day. And the reason for that was because she wasn't actually talking to people. And so I think that's why, as business owners, we don't get into business to do social media, right? Maybe we own a restaurant, maybe we're coaches, and social media is not our thing. But if we want to continue our sales, this is an important aspect. So it is going to take a bit of a time investment. And I think having conversations with the people who you're connecting with or trying to connect with is crucial.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and I think that sometimes people are afraid, it feels like putting themselves out there
Yeah.
and stuff, and but just remembering that there's just one person on the other side of that, and I like to make that mindset switch for myself, whether it comes to posting on my feed or I love Instagram stories because it does feel like a little bit more personal to
Yeah.
me, and really also something that's been helpful for me too, especially as a solopreneur, I'm at home working alone all day, and, like, I got my dogs to talk to, which I do talk to them, but, like, they don't really reply back and stuff. We have to think about our strategy when it comes to who are our customers and what's our relationship to them and stuff, but I really think about the stuff that I share on my Instagram stories, it's if I was going to share it with a friend or a coworker, it's, like, just a little snippet, and that's the mindset that I try to embrace for myself when I'm
Mm.
sharing something with someone. This isn't, like, a potential customer, this is, like, my friend or, like, my coworker or just something that they would find to be so helpful, and,
Yeah.
like, that switch, like, helps me bring a different energy, I think.
And you have no idea where connections will lead. Like, I've had this so
Mhm.
many times where people have DM'd me something about social or something else. We engage in a little bit of a dialogue, and then they make a massive referral for me I couldn't have imagined. Right? Like, we have no idea where
Mhm.
things are going to come. So I think when we come at social with the heart of, we're actually just think of it like you own a cafe, and all of these people are at your cafe and they're visiting and they want a matcha and they want to talk to you working at the bar. I think that's why, even like when I think about traditional businesses like brick and mortars, that's why so many of them are so successful, is when you know the
Mhm.
owner, you're familiar with the space. Like, even I think about me, I'm like so loyal to my hairdresser. Why? Because we have a relationship. And so I think when we're looking for that brand loyalty, we're looking for those people to really buy from us over and over again. We need to show up with that same loyalty to our customers. And so really, I think, like, a great way to do that is just by starting to have conversation.
Yeah. So if you I know that, like, people don't want the fast track, and we just talked about, like, how we can't really, like, let how we need to walk that fine line between making it genuine and also, like, thinking about the strategy behind it.
Yeah,
But I think that a lot of this too comes from for example, on your podcast, I just shared about my sticky note technique of putting can ChatGPT help me with this on a sticky note next to my computer to train myself to use ChatGPT.
that
And I think of the same thing when it comes to this, like, community building and engagement and different things like that. Like, how can we train ourselves when we're just starting out to implement, like, community building techniques and stuff? Or what are some of those, like, actionable things that we can think about doing?
Yeah. So some of them, I would say the first thing is, like, whenever we're looking for something in our business, it's so important that we actually go first with it. So it's okay, if I'm looking for more comments, then great. Then I need to be doing more comments. If I'm looking for more
Mhm.
stories, I should be showing up in my stories. If I'm like, it's so weird, I'm not getting DMs, it's because you're not having conversations. So really, I think just start to think about what you're missing on your feed is the first thing I would do. The other thing I would say is I like to encourage all of our clients to spend 15 minutes 5 days a week being on their platform of choice. Maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's TikTok, whatever it is, and actually engaging with ideal clients that you don't follow or that don't follow you, like new people, to try to bring new people into your world. This does wonders for your engagement, but also it's a great opportunity for you to get new people. And then the other thing I would say too is spending some time, maybe it's 10 minutes a day. I don't know. I don't want to put too many rules on this, but and going through your followers' stories and saying, oh, like connecting with them. And it just have to be about the business stuff. And I think that's where it gets really tough on social is this is what I get all the time where people are like, I don't want to talk about personal stuff. I don't want to talk about personal stuff. And I'm like, you don't have to talk about like your bowel movements, but do things work where you're like, hey, I'm going to talk about my dog? Right? Like, I'm gonna talk about my walk. This morning, I went to a bagel shop because my mother asked me for a bagel, so I went to drop one off, and I posted it there, and a bunch of people messaged me being like, "Oh my gosh, strawberry matcha, no way, that's so good." That started conversations. They're not business conversations, but you never know where they're gonna lead, and so I think what I would do is I would just start documenting, like, what you're up to, what's the behind the scenes of your business, and then spend the other time that you have for social outwardly engaging with people and connecting.
Yes, I love those actionable tips because it is and I'm totally there with you where I'm like, don't put rules to it, but
Yeah,
guidelines or whatever it is. As you're scrolling through the stories, remember you can reply to a story with just like the first thought that pops into your head. And it
yeah,
doesn't, again, have to be you pitching yourself or about business or anything like that. Oh my gosh, that dog's so cute. Or, oh my gosh, I love the color of that couch. Or whatever like pops in your head, like you can have those conversations too. Like where if maybe even too, if you're a little bit worried about sharing your own personal stuff, like,
yeah,
okay, you can have conversations with other people about their personal stuff that they're sharing in that
totally.
relatable way. And people usually like to talk about themselves more than
Yeah.
you, I'm honest.
And I think too, something that people don't realize is when we share these like personal things or we share these connection points or whatever they are, like it does create a connection, false or otherwise, with other people. And so I always use this example, but like my dog, I have a dog named Patrick. He's a German Shepherd. I'm obsessed with this dog. He's my whole personality. I'll post about him and I will be watching Real Housewives and we'll be laying in bed watching Real Housewives. And everyone will be like, oh my God, is that Salt Lake City? Which one are you watching? Oh my God, is that
Yep.
Patrick? What's Patrick up to? And sometimes I'll come to meetings and people will be like, where's Patrick? What's Patrick up to? And
I'm literally like, "Wait, where's Patrick right
yeah,
now?"
not here right now. He's with my husband, but he could come in at any moment. But what's
Mhm.
so great about it is that then people come on and they're like, I actually love German Shepherds. And my German
Mhm.
Shepherd passed when I was a kid. And I love this and blah, 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 blah. And I remember this memory. And you're instantly more bonded. Right.
Yep.
And so I think that's the beauty of it. Like, it doesn't have to be as morbid as that, but it can be like, I love Nespresso. And when Nespresso came out with the B12 pods, I like put a thing out being like, is this thing? Am I going to get B12 from this pod? What's happening here? And people were like, yeah, I love that. Or my friend who owned an IV company was like, hey, but actually these are better. And here's why. You start to have those
Mhm.
conversations. And so I think we really want to be able to build that community. And I think having those conversations, personal or otherwise, makes such a big difference. And we have to also remember, and this is like probably anecdotal, but like people want to see us be successful, in my opinion. And so
Mhm.
people wanna see your wins. Like, on LinkedIn, every time I post a win, like, we're nominated for an award, like, that we could have self-nominated, like, we just had to fill out a form. People are like, "Oh my gosh, killing it. Get after it. Like, amazing." And I'm like, "This is awesome. Like, this is awesome that you guys are all so pumped about this. Like, cool." And so it's amazing how, like, people do wanna be part of our journey, and that's what makes influencers so influential is that they share personal stuff and we feel connected to them. So how do you borrow some of that belief from them and bring that into your business?
Oh, man, yeah, and I think a lot of it is the mindset
Yeah.
stuff. Mostly, the biggest hurdle is and maybe there's a few different mindset things and angles that people come at it with,
Yeah.
like, where it's like, it feels disconnected because of the screen, you're not actually here, you can't really build real relationships online, or, oh, man, the numbers thing is so
Yeah.
crazy, like, just the amount of followers. There's something about us as humans, I think, culturally, that we put a lot of weight on numbers, whether it's
Yeah.
like the number on the scale or the number of your followers or the number of likes, even the reach too. Like people get frustrated with the reach on Instagram,
Yeah.
feeling like there's something I'm doing wrong because I'm not getting a lot of reach. I'm always just rolling my eyes over here, like, guys, it's the algorithm is just having a day and like we can't really control that. So, what do you say to people who get caught up and down on themselves when it comes to that stuff?
Yeah, I think like one of the things I will say, people don't like this answer, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. So success leaves clues on some of this stuff, right? So if you're showing up consistently and you're building community, like I have yet to see a business owner that I've worked with who hasn't seen some kind of success, whether that be a sale or a connection that's been life changing or whatever. But the best thing that you can do, I think, if you feel like you're spinning your wheels on social and you're like posting, 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 and it's not working, I think you might have a messaging problem. And that's
Mhm.
actually okay because that's a problem you can fix, right? So
Mhm.
I think one of the best things people do, and people don't do, which I think is like such an underrated hack, is if you can spend $100 and you could do half an hour like little chat with your ideal client and send them a
Mhm.
$10 Starbucks gift card as an
Mhm.
opportunity to be like, hey, I'm trying to better understand like what you need. So even for example, I was just chatting with someone and they're creating a habits workshop. She's amazing. Creating a habits workshop. And there was like, I think like 100 modules in it or something like that. And or 50 modules. And I was like, I don't know that somebody who needs new habits is going to be responsive to 50 modules. But I'm just telling you that as somebody who I have no consistent schedule in my life. So I'm a woman who could use a habit.
You're like, "I'm your ideal customer,"
Yeah,
and
this is like the
that
first water I probably drank in 2 weeks. So I'm like, I'm just
uh-huh.
telling you, like, I'm not a woman with all these apps that like tell you anything. Like, I don't know what's going on at any given moment.
Mhm.
And I love to live this way, but also I see the other side. But it was because she hadn't talked to anybody about it. And so
Yep.
I've had this happen so many times in my business career where someone's had an idea that's not a bad idea, but it's not messaged properly or it's created in a way you want it to be created. Another example of this is somebody had come to me one time and they said, hey, I'm going to be running a course for about sex and relationships. Like, we're going to do like a group coaching program. And I was like, oh, the most two taboo topics that we can talk about in a group with strangers on the internet. I don't think we're going to buy that. I think that's a one-on-one thing. And she was like, no, and I was correct. People didn't buy it. And then she repackaged it as a one-on-one and it worked great. So I think it's really about having those conversations with people. You get in, you say, hey, 30 minutes, let me just pick your brain on what would be helpful to you. I'm not going to pitch you. I'm not going to, I just really want to hear. And even listen to the language they're using. Hey, I solved this problem. And if this problem was solved for you, how would you feel? If your social media was taken care of for the next 6 months, how would you feel? And I remember I asked somebody that and they said, relaxed. And so when I do sales calls, I say, my goal is for all my clients to feel relaxed about their social. That resonates for a business owner. I'd love to feel relaxed, right? So I think it's about, again, like asking those questions. So I think if you are in a season where you're feeling like you're doing the damn thing and it's not working, it's, again, I think conversations are going to go a long way.
Yes. Oh, I cannot second this enough, guys. Literally, like, it's so helpful too. I have a few different things that I've been doing too when it comes to this. Firstly, and especially with, I've been building our Authentic AI sister brand, and it's figuring out the messaging a little bit. And somewhat it's having those conversations and listening to the people who I've worked with, and then also like splatting spaghetti, my own spaghetti against the wall, and paying attention to reaction too.
Totally.
Which is really helpful in, like, podcast interviews, for example. It took me a while to figure out, like, "Oh, if I say it in this way, then the host will be like, 'Oh, yeah,' like, it clicks." And so paying attention to that stuff. I also recently I loved this. I hosted a Get It Done week for one of our
Mhm.
new courses, the Brand Blueprint, and literally, like, people loved it because they, like, were like, "Oh my gosh, I never would have done this if you didn't host
Yes.
this Get It Done week thing." And it was really easy for me because the first day we were doing like an exercise that was like guided, but then the next 4 days we were just co-working. So like I didn't really have to do much, but literally I was there to help, to answer questions if needed. And I not only did it help my students actually get it done, but I got so much great feedback and
Mm.
insights from that like co-working stuff too. So that might be interesting to play around with too if you're looking for just a way to get feedback from like a group scenario. Be like, okay, guys, we're hosting like this co-working for 5 days this week to try to get something done and make it around like whatever you're offering. And that's a great way to really hone in on the people's problems and like how they would
Mhm.
feel after and all that stuff. But
And
I
something
love that.
I think people don't do enough is like free stuff. And I don't mean that like you should do everything for free. Please don't hear that. But use free things to your advantage where you can like I know somebody who grew like a really successful business doing a 1 hour coffee, like a public coffee chat a week. And she would
Yeah.
invite people to come, they'd introduce themselves. And she really positioned herself as an authority in this space. It wasn't for pitching, it was for
Mhm.
listening and for audience
Mhm.
building. And then people were connecting her with new people. So the best thing
Mhm.
you can do on social is get people to share your content, to share you with their friends, to share connections. So if that's the case, what can you do that's so high value for people that it's like a heck yes, I can share this? So we did a 3 day
Mhm.
challenge a few weeks ago. Truthfully, it took us maybe half an hour to record these videos. 3 day challenge of something that comes so naturally to us, but it's very hard for business owners. and people were transformed by this 3-day challenge. And it was a
Yeah.
funnel into our membership. But also, it was so cool to see people, what they were writing, what people were struggling with, things they hadn't tried. We had clients in there where I was like, you actually should know this. So I'm not doing a good enough job communicating that to you. Right. So it was just really good.
Mhm.
So everything is information, even if something performs badly. I love the phrase, interesting. You
Yeah.
don't get into, oh my goodness, like this was the worst thing. I'm shitty. I'm bad at content. It's interesting. That didn't work out. On to the next. I have created content that has gone viral, but that was like so high performing, so beautiful, so well done that did nothing for our business. I've done
Mhm.
content with my hands shaking that has made tons, thousands of dollars in sales. So
Mhm.
there's opportunity on both ends.
Yes. Oh my gosh, and I'm so glad you brought that up because I actually wanted to share that too, is I've really been working on myself too, reframing the way that I think about Instagram content because it
Yeah,
is so easy to get swept up in the vanity metrics, and I think that success is, like, the number of likes, the number of whatever, right? But, like, literally with our AI reels lately, I've been posting consistently reels, and my strategy is focusing on top of funnel topics and stuff where it's like literally every one of my reels is going to, I know where it's going to lead. It's going to lead into one of our top of funnel offers or free resources. And then I set up the many chat automation, of
yeah,
course, to like make it easy on myself. And you hear all of these, you get swept up in all of the, "Oh my gosh, the Instagram algorithm hates me, the numbers are down, the reaches." Have any of these reels really gone viral? Some of them perform better than others, but I wouldn't say I've gone viral yet. But have I completely gotten so many new leads and new students and, like, new ManyChat automation, like, things happening through these reels that I'm posting consistently? Yes.
totally.
Man, this reel with, like, 200 views. I got 2 comments on it leading to my Reels freebie, and that is complete success for me, and could I look at those, like, 200 views and be like, "Eh, yeah?"
Totally.
But no, flip that script around and remember what the actual success looks like.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, there is just so much to that where we honestly can be like, we can be so hard on ourselves with these numbers. But
Mm,
I think why we're so hard is because we look at other people. I love this idea of the horse racing where you keep your blinders on. It's just so focused and
mhm,
I love it. But at the same time, it's good to learn from other people. I still think that's important. But I'm a huge
mhm,
believer in really just keeping your head down and really using your own analytics as the measure. Because we just sold out one of our events and there were 122 women there and sold out in 10 days. I was so proud. I was so excited about it. And then I listened to a friend tell me she sold out 500 women in 3 or 4 days. And I was like,
mhm,
I guess this isn't so good, right?
mhm,
No, of course it's so good, right? And so
mhm.
we can't compare our like day one to someone else's day 100. As if you were at the gym and you're training next to an Olympian, you wouldn't be like, oh darn, look at them go. And that's the same with social. People have been getting after it. I think don't be so hard on the numbers. And it's really to me, it's not even about the numbers. It's exactly the same. Email conversions, or more people joining our freebies, or more people coming to our website. Even that 3-day challenge, one of the coolest things that came from that is that we actually got an agency client from it because someone posted that they were doing the challenge and then somebody reached out for a discovery call. That's way more valuable than anything else. And yeah, even the stuff that sometimes doesn't perform the way we want it to, just remember success leaves clues. So continuing to try over and over again will bring you the result you're looking for.
I love that so much, Christina. Oh my gosh, I could talk to you forever, but like boundaries again with like the length of our conversation. But can you please share with everyone how they can connect with you and share about any free resources you have or your membership and all that?
Yeah, of course. I would love to connect with you. Any friend of Kinsey's a friend of mine. So come on over to me on Instagram at the social snippet or at Kristina.Bartold. I spell my name with a K because I'm Polish. And then in terms of free resources, you can go to our website. We've got an awesome story starter guide where I teach you every single day what you could be posting your stories over a month. And then if you're interested in joining the Social Business Club, you can go to the socialbusinessclub.ca. And that's where we teach you actually from front to back how to do your own social. If you're not in a season where maybe you can afford an agency or a social media manager. We've seen some amazing success stories. If you're interested in joining, you can use the code podcast for your first month for $1.
Oh, awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been such a fun conversation.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kizzy.